and we'll get ready to go. So if you're gonna flow with us, if you're catching this later on, you will need a yoga mat. I always have blacks with me because I always like to bring the earth to me. And a blanket is optional. It looks like my daughter stole my yoga blanket and put it somewhere. And since it's morning, I also have my cup of coffee. So whenever you're ready, we're just gonna start in a comfortable seat. So that can be sitting on your bottom. You could start in child's pose. You could be laying on your back, but just whatever is comfortable for you. Through this practice, I am nursing, healing, trying to say like I don't have an injury, but I'm healing some tennis elbow, and so I'm gonna cue some poses. I'm not necessarily gonna flow through it myself. So just pay attention to my voice, not necessarily what I am doing. I'm gonna modify for myself so that I don't add to any injury. So as we're seated, just feel free to close your eyes. Maybe you just soften your gaze. Find a moment of stillness. Find yourself rooted to the ground in whatever position you're in. Maybe you feel your sit bones grounding into the floor meeting your sit bones. If you're on your back, you might feel your whole body melt into the earth. Wherever you're at, your shoulders softening down, releasing any tension in your shoulders, in your jaw, forehead. Maybe start to pay attention to the quality of your breath. Where's your breath flowing? You take an inhale, is your chest expanding? Is your belly expanding? When you breathe in, try to send the breath to your belly. An intention for your practice today, something I've been thinking about today, would be a single word. My word today is release. What can you release in this moment? I visualize that like steam releasing from like a cup of coffee, or like when you open a popcorn bag out of the microwave and you see like the puff of steam. That's how I visualize a release. So if that resonates with you, you can carry that through your practice today, through your day. When you're ready, open your eyes, or you can keep them closed. You could keep them closed throughout the whole practice today. We're going to find some side bends. So we're going to inhale. Let's lift both arms up and overhead. And exhale, left arm down, right arm up and overhead. Feel free to find some moments of play here. So maybe you don't find stillness, maybe you do, but maybe you also experiment with grounding your spine and coming back up and seeing how that feels. Maybe you move your neck side to side and see how that feels. But just find some playfulness here and see how it feels in your body. See what feels good, see what feels stuck. I always like to get some wrist rotations here, especially in the morning. When you're ready, inhale, both arms up and overhead. Exhale, let's go to the other side. Again, same thing here. So tuning into your body and honoring what feels good for you. So in any yoga practice, and I remind my students a lot that you want to find what feels good for you. You want to honor your body in every posture. So you might not do the same pose that the yoga teacher is doing or that somebody else in a class is doing, because you're listening to what your body needs in that moment. So always, if you need to take a rest or a different pose or a different variation, always do that. Let's come on to our hands and knees. We're going to find cat-cow. So our wrists are under our shoulders, our knees are under our hips. We're going to inhale, drop the belly, open the chest, look up. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the tail, drop the neck. And again here, find what feels good. So maybe you're bumping your hips left and right. Maybe you're finding some stretches in the neck. Just flow through, listening to your breath, listening to your body. Maybe you need to find some wrist stretches here, especially in the morning. Everything's a little tight. Some stretches to the arches of your feet. This one is great at the beginning of the day and the end of the day to tuck your toes and kind of lean back. Just flow through what feels good. Maybe, again, you can do some hip circles one way, the other. If anything feels stuck, feel free to pause there. Maybe you just need child's pose. You can always come down in child's pose at any time. And when you're ready, we're going to tuck the toes. We're going to find our first downward dog. I will not be finding downward dog because of my elbow, so I might find dolphin with my forearms on the ground and hips still up and back so I can get that stretch through my hamstrings. But if you're in downward dog, your hands are pressing into the mat, your arms are straight. And you can walk out your dog here so you can bend one knee and then the other. Take a big inhale through your nose wherever you're at. And exhale out through your mouth. Again, release. Inhale in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. On your next inhale, we're going to bend the knees, look between your hands, and step towards the front of your mat to a forward fold. I'm going to use the other side of my mat. And if you have blocks or books or anything that can bring the floor up to you, that can be helpful, especially first thing in the morning. I know my hamstrings are really tight from my yoga class I did yesterday, so I like to have the blocks here. And just find your fold. You can have as much of a bend in your knees as you need. You can find a little movement here, maybe a little sway side to side. Maybe you straighten one knee, bend one knee. Inhale, find your half back, flat back. Your hands can be on your shins, your thighs. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, slowly come up. We're going to lift the arms up and overhead, maybe look up. Exhale, hands through heart. Inhale, sweep your arms down, around, and up. Greet the day. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, find your flat back. Exhale, we're going to plant the palms. You're going to step back into your plank position. So you could have your, I'm not going to demo this because it puts too much pressure on my wrist and my elbow. But into your plank, you can have your knees down or toes tucked under. And you're going to find your chaturanga, so your push-up with your elbows tucked into the body. And then you can find your cobra or up dog. In the morning, I like to stick with cobra. Up dog puts a little bit too much on my back until I'm warmed up. And then wherever you're at, you can always skip that and you can just meet me in downward dog, or if you want to find your dolphin with me, you can do that. Take a moment here. Inhale in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Inhale, look between your hands, bend your knees wherever you're at. You're in downward dog. And we're going to step back towards the front of our mat. Your feet can always be together or hip width distance apart. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, lower. This time, if your feet are together and it feels good, let's walk them together so your big toes are touching. There's a slight distance between your ankles. We're going to bend the knees. We're going to come into chair. So bend the knees. We're going to sweep the arms up and overhead, staying long through the spine. Inhale. Exhale, come up to stand. Look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold, plant the palms. Again, you can step back into your plank. Find your vinyasa, which is your chaturanga to up dog or cobra. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Whenever you're ready, or you can always skip that and just meet me in downward dog. Again, I'm going to find dolphin, or I might just actually stay in my, I've lost the word, in my kneeling position is what I'll call it right now. Inhale, we're going to sweep the right leg back. So if you're in downward dog, you'd be in your three-legged dog, keeping that hip closed so we're not rotating that foot open, but we're keeping our hip plugged in. Inhale. Exhale, we're going to step that right leg in between our front hands, so we're in our low lunge. And then if you're ready, you can stay here or you can sweep your arms up and overhead. Inhale. And then exhale, plant the palms, step back into your plank or meet me in downward dog. Find your vinyasa again. So right now we're going through sun salutation B. We went through sun salutation A, which doesn't have the chair or the lunge. And then in your downward dog, when you're ready, inhale, sweep the left leg up and back. Exhale, step between your front hands. Find your lunge. If this is too much for you, you can always have the back knee lowered and come up into your crescent this way. Or you can tuck those back toes. Inhale, look up. Exhale, plant the palms. Again, step back into your plank. You can flow through your vinyasa or meet me in downward dog. You can always come into child's pose if you need more of a break than what downward dog allows. If you're in downward dog or in dolphin, I'm in dolphin because of my elbow if you're joining. We're going to bend the knees, look between the palms. We're going to step, or you can hop or float towards the front of your mat. We're going to inhale, find our chair pose again. So we're going to move into more of our flow. So bend the knees, bring the arms up and overhead, chin. Inhale. Exhale, we're going to bring our hands through prayer, center of our heart. And we're going to open up towards the left into a twist. So our right elbow hooks on our left knee. Open up. You can find any variation here that feels good for you. So you could put a fist into your hand. You can always open up the arms. But we're going to pause here. On your next inhale, we're going to shift our weight into our left foot and start to lift that right foot off the ground. And we're going to step back into our lunge. So we're in a lunging twist. Staying with your breath. Inhale, we're going to extend our arms forward. And if you have blocks, this is a good time to grab them and put them at the front of your mat. So we're going to find warrior 3. So extending our arms forward, we're going to take flight. So you can shorten your stance a little bit by stepping up with your back leg, or you can just lift your right leg back. Your arms can be forward, they can be at your heart center, you can have airplane arms behind you, or if you have those blocks, you can always modify it by holding onto your blocks. That back foot is as if it is kicking into the wall behind you. One more inhale. Exhale, we're going to lower that right leg next to our left and take a second forward. So you can add on here at any point, or you can find a different variation that works for you, or you can skip it all together and just lay on your yoga mat. So we're gonna inhale, bend the knees, find our chair pose again, sweeping the arms up and overhead. Legs are pressing in together. Inhale. Exhale, we're gonna bring our hands through heart center, twist open to the right. Again, find any variation. Maybe you want to find a bind, that right arm wrapped behind. Just play around what feels good for you. And then when you're ready, we're going to shift our weight into that right foot. Left foot shoots back into your lunge. Again, you could open up here. And we're going to inhale, look forward, arms go forward. You can always drop that back knee here if it becomes too much. And then you can shorten your stance, or you can just come into your warrior 3. Again, arms can play. You could play here by opening up into half moon. So if you have a block, or you put your hand on the floor. In half moon, we open up our hip, our left hip, and your left arm reaches towards the sky. When you're ready, we're going to step that left foot down. Forward fold. Inhale, find your half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we're going to sweep our arms down, around, and up. Again, greet the day. Exhale, hands through heart. Take a moment here. Feel your feet planted firmly into the earth, the ground, your yoga mat. Feel all four corners of your feet. Maybe you take a sip of water here, a sip of coffee, a sip of tea. Feel free to move through that flow once again. We're going to keep this class at about 30 minutes, so we can find our way down into a child's pose. So knees as wide as your mat. Feet, big toes touching, and we're going to walk forward with our palms. Release the neck down. Find a little movement here. Maybe you sway your hips a little side to side. And when you're ready, we're going to come onto our back. So make your way there in whatever way honors your body best. We're going to come all the way onto our backs. We're going to plant our feet onto our mats. Hands can press into the earth down by your sides. And we're going to take a big inhale. And then an exhale, we're going to slowly raise our hips towards the ceiling. If you have a block, it could be nice to place that under your hips here to do a supported bridge. Goes right along the base of your spine where it feels like your block isn't wobbly. If you want more of a passive bridge here, or if you want to stay activated through your glutes and your legs, you can obviously just use those muscles, or you can even use your hands here underneath your lower back. If you do have a block, you can always do the legs up the wall variation with your block, just having your feet up. I love to do this at the beginning of the day with my feet up. Or if you're near a wall, you can always just place your feet up the wall because we've been laying down for so long. So it's great to get the blood flowing in the opposite direction. You keep your knees bent if you're here or straight. This is also great to do at the end of the day. If you've been standing or sitting for a long time, because again, you're just getting that blood flowing in another direction. We're ready. We're going to plant our feet back on the ground if they are not already. And we're going to slowly lower one vertebra at a time, starting at upper point of our back. You can windshield wiper your knees in one direction and then the other. Find whatever feels good for you here before we find our final resting pose. If you're very sleepy, I recommend not finding your final resting pose in the morning on your back. We want to keep our bodies energized in the morning, and so you can find a seated position or if you don't feel like you'll fall asleep, you can stay on your back. I'm going to come up into a seated position. And again, we're just going to take a moment here to round out the end of our practice. Whether you're on your back or you're seated, I like to have my palms facing up or on my body. When my palms are facing up, I think about it as being open to receive. And take that as whatever it means for you when you think about that, open to receive. What are you open to receiving? I think about open to receiving the benefits of my practice. I'm open to receiving all the goodness this day has in store for me. Even thinking about that puts a smile on my face. At the end of my practice, I always like to put one hand on my heart, one hand on my belly. So if that feels good for you, feel free to join. I like to say thank you to myself for showing up, for being here, for honoring my body. And I always say thank you 3 times. And if you showed up today, whether live or you're watching it later, thank you so much. It's always fun to get to do this type of thing and have people flow with me, or if you're new to yoga or have been doing it for a while and you just took something new from it, or just gained something from your day, that is awesome and all I could ask for. So